Now I've got my band sewn on the short end. Makes a little loop. And there's my seam allowance. Now your next step says to fold this in half, wrong sides together. Remember, our seam allowance is on the wrong side of our fabric, so we want to fold this in half, hiding that seam allowance. And you want to make sure your fold is even as you go around. So when you get done, you should have a nice little circle, nicer than mine, that looks like this roughly. Make sure your top edges are lined up, and this is a step that's not in the written instructions, but I highly recommend it. See this mess here? I want to open that up and make sure my seam allowance is laying beautifully flat in there. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is put a pin in here, because I recommend that you baste this top edge together. Later in the process, the instructions tell you to sew this on. You will have a much more successful time if you baste this top edge together. Baste this raw edge together. To do that, I'm going to place pins all the way around just to keep it in place as I sew it. And I will then baste it together. You can hand baste it or machine baste it, it's up to you. Just make sure your basting stitches are about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch from this edge. Anything more than a 1/2 inch away will show when you've sewn it together. I'm going to machine baste these two layers of the cuff together. Remember to set your stitch length at a very long stitch length to do this, and you do not have to backstitch. I'm going to use the edge of my presser foot as my guide, just so I know it's nice out of the way basting. All right. Don't forget to trim your threads. There you have it. I've basted it together.